All right, welcome in. Welcome into Wednesday's edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet, where today we come to you live from the undisclosed location with running water. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
A better start to the Wednesday than it was a Tuesday over here on the Jordy Culotta Show, but we will be giving you good content coming up. Will Clapp, who is a restricted free agent for the New Orleans Saints, a former All-SEC offensive lineman and an intern on a former media experiment that we had, is going to stop by here today, 8 o'clock. 8:15, Ben Mintz from New York City will stop by. We'll talk to Mintzy.
The 17th.
Oh, no.
We will talk to Mintzy coming up here from Barstool Sports at 8:15, and then at 8:30, Chad Durbin will make his debut here on the Jordy Culotta Show. All on phone this morning. We are going to try a video element. We have texted into today's guests and asked them if they mind about a video element that we could launch here and bring them in from a video standpoint. Rivers is back with us. Nick is here today. Lloyd is behind the camera as we come to you live here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We invite your interaction every day inside of the bunker. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. We invite you to give thumbs up, thumbs down, share the post, comment on the post. We appreciate that very much. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet, and our coffee is presented by Metropolitan Health Group. Metropolitan Health Group.
Metropolitan Health.
Real doctors, real solutions. Get in touch with with Charles Harvey and Jason Ramazan.
Dr. Ramazan.
Dr. Ramo. But yes, real quick, a shout out to Barker Brothers Plumbing in West Baton Rouge. How about that? Making the trip over the bridge somehow.
So it didn't do it by itself.
No, it did not do it by itself.
I thought that
it did not do it by itself. Pipes busted. Saw it happen. Knew it was going to be a.
So what time did they bust? It was after the show, huh?
It was after the show.
Okay.
And I just kind of thought they would thaw themselves out.
Oh yeah, that's the college thing right there.
Like,
it'll fix itself.
I mean,
that's what I assumed happened.
Caparotto said this morning that the sun was coming out, so the pipes will be all good, right? No doubt. And then. About 2 o'clock, it just wasn't happening. Just wasn't happening. We were still without water, so I went and purchased a blow dryer.
You're gonna need that.
Got an extension cord, hooked it up, brought it to the pipe, thawed it out. Next thing you know, pipes are I mean, it was the textbook pipe busting.
I'm doing everything wrong.
I mean, it was. So they said as soon as the water thaws out and the ice gets out of there and the pressure starts to move through the pipe, that it's going to bust. The water's going to bust the pipe. And I mean, it was like a sprinkler. You know what I mean? One hole came out, then 2 holes came out, 3 holes came out. Next thing you know, we're gushing water on the side of the undisclosed location.
So when that happens, maybe a dumb question. I don't know a lot about pipes.
Well, it can't be any dumber than not running the faucet 2 nights ago.
So like when your pipe busts, does it just... The water just leaks out until.
Well, I mean, I turned the main water off.
Oh, okay, just as much as it's in there.
Yeah, I mean, the water was, just exploding as the thing was on, and I just turned it off, and then an hour later, Jude Barker and Barker Brothers made their way over from West Baton Rouge, from Iberville Parish, and it was we appreciate that very much over here at the Undisclosed Location as we are
I
showered.
can't believe you did not. And
Okay,
you know what?
all right.
I honestly, I was kicking myself a little bit as I was
That was
watching.
a stupid question you just asked.
Well, no, I was kicking
Where's water
myself.
come from?
No, I was kicking myself because I should have reminded you to leave your, I was like,
My
I feel like
girlfriend
maybe
said
this
the
is a
same
little bit
thing.
on me. Like I should have just reminded you.
Everybody I spoke to yesterday was like, "Sheesh, bro, you're an idiot." I mean, like,
What are we doing
you didn't keep the faucet running. I
They
mean,
want stuff.
BG Lanois, who's probably less of a handyman than I am. You know what I mean? Which is like real
Saying
rookie
something.
stuff.
Saying something.
You know what I mean? Like, we got trouble screwing in a light bulb, me and Lanois. When I told him that the pipes were frozen, I mean, he busted out laughing. Jesus, dude, you're an idiot. I mean, like, you didn't keep the faucet running.
But
So
at
it
least
was
the undisclosed location has remained with power. I think that's the number one thing you could hope for.
amazingly. The Undisclosed Location is on one of the smallest strips of the electric grid here, wherever we're located. We won't tell you, but we never lost power.
Someone's gonna pull up the power map.
Right.
I only lost power for about an hour last night, and I think what actually happened was, and we lost it at 7:30-ish. It was one of the rolling power situations, but
Oh, they were trying to conserve the energy?
when they did it, then they cut our power off, which it was a pretty big area, but they cut off our area, Crown Plaza, like the chimes and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Well, apparently they cut off the wrong things because people started complaining. So much so that they just turned our power back on and it never rolled again.
Oh my God.
Too many rich people are complaining. Flip the switch.
Can you imagine if you lost your power, you got a hotel room at the Crown Plaza,
Oh my
and
God.
then the power goes out at the
No.
Crown Plaza?
No.
Wow. What just a terrible situation to be in.
No.
How were the roads this morning?
They were fine.
Really?
Yeah. They,
I didn't find any ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to get a little bit more rainy, sleety this
The
afternoon.
temperature's supposed to be not as cold. so
Right,
maybe-
which I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I'm a fan
We're
of.
moving in the right direction.
Get the hell out of here.
that
Why don't
wind
you?
started whipping this
Get
morning.
the hell out of here, why don't you? We told you about the changes this weekend to the baseball lineup. The start times now shifted up from 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock on both Friday and Saturday for LSU. So we'll keep you posted on anything that changes there.
One thing that I don't know if you read through this. I don't think I put it in the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the new guidelines is this weekend when there are games being played at the box that do not involve LSU,
Okay.
fans are not allowed at those games.
Okay.
So you can only attend the games where LSU is playing. All the other games will be played with no fans.
And so that'll be a 4 o'clock start
I get it.
for LSU and Air Force on Friday. Then a 4 o'clock start for LSU and Notre Dame on Saturday. Sunday's game between LSU and Louisiana Tech will still be played at its 3:30 scheduled time right now. All three games can be heard on the LSU Sports Radio Network, and they'll be online on SEC Network Plus. We'll have much more insight for you on baseball before first pitch on Friday afternoon. But that is just a little of the semantics that's happening around opening weekend here in college baseball with the Bucs. We got a lot to get to coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show daily, presented by Go Chevrolet. Remember, conveniently located in Laplace, Louisiana. Lee Carney, Nick Richard, names that you're very familiar with within the automotive industry. Now running a Chevrolet dealership down in Laplace, Louisiana, and it's titled Go. GEAUX Chevrolet.com is where you can find them online. But go stop in and see the great sales team. Michael Divinity is down there selling cars in Laplace with Nick and Lee. Stop in and see them at Go Chevrolet. Laplace, whether you're coming to Baton Rouge from New Orleans, going to New Orleans from Baton Rouge, it's an easy stop right there off I-10, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. 8 a.m. this morning, we're going to talk to Will Clapp. Clapp's going to be here. He's a good friend of ours. We're looking forward to that conversation. We gave you the information. Still got great real estate for Clapp. And I told him last night, you're not going anywhere, bro. Everybody's trying to tell me to move the Clapp jersey. It ain't budging.
We'll see.
It ain't budging. Unless you can get me a Camaro jersey. Unless you can get me a Camaro jersey. 8:15, we're going to talk to Ben Mintz, but what we're going to talk to Clapp about, Clapp's a restricted free agent. We gave you the news earlier this week that Nick Easton had been released by the New Orleans Saints. We'll ask him what he's heard from whether it be his agent, the market for him, in the NFL and the conversations between New Orleans as a restricted free agent. You know what that means? If you don't, it means that Clapp can go out to the market and see what his value is. And if somebody offers him a contract worth a number, then the Saints have the right to match that. So we'll ask what those conversations have been like with New Orleans. There's a lot of turnover in New Orleans this season, whether it be from personnel, guys like Drew Brees obviously being the headliner there, but a lot of coaches turned over in the offseason. So we'll talk to Clapp about what another offseason in the NFL and some of the changes down in New Orleans, what they may look like from his point of view, and what he's hearing could be a possible landing spot for him going into his fourth season in the league. Ben Mintz is going to stop here at 8:15. Mintzy up in New York, celebrating the carnival, celebrating Mardi Gras. By the way, I hope everybody had a good, safe Mardi Gras. I know it was a very different experience than we've been accustomed to here in South Louisiana over the past 100 years. But either way, I know that a lot of people were celebrating it yesterday, and if you did, hopefully you had a good carnival. I know it was not like the rest of them, and maybe we'll be back on track next year. But we're at Ash Wednesday. I mean, like it's Mardi Gras is behind us here in 2021. We're already moving the calendar into the Lenten season here in 2021. So happy Mardi Gras, and if you're celebrating Ash Wednesday today as a Catholic,
I am a non-practicing Catholic.
Okay. Right.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I went to church on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I got you. No, it's all good. And then Chad Durbin, who just texted in, he will be here at 8:30 this morning, and it'll be over the phone. Durbs will be over the phone. He's looking forward to making his debut at the Undisclosed Location last week. So we got good conversations coming up. Zion Williamson last night. Zion was possessed as New Orleans won the game 144-113 over Memphis. That makes Zion Williamson 5-0 versus Memphis in his start to his career, and John Morant. Remember, Morant was the second pick behind Williamson, and Zion he's dominating right now. Last night he was 13 of 16 from the field. He became the only player in league history to average 23 points or more on 60% or better field goal percentage through his first 50 games. Some of the other names that are around that stat are guys like Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, guys that are heavyweights within the NBA just history. When you think about the NBA, when you think about the game and the historical references, the historical importance of names like Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and Shaquille O'Neal, and Zion Williamson in his first 50 games is creeping around averages and numbers that are comparable to those guys. The thing that I love about Zion the most is now he's in his second season. Think about this. In 2021, he's 19 years old. When's the last time you've seen any video of Zion working out? When's the last time you've seen a video of Zion getting onto a private plane?
Yeah.
When's the last time you've seen a video of Zion introducing or looking at his own Jordan-made brand shoe before he's at 20 years old? To me, I don't know if we talk about that a lot with Zion at his star power. Mm-hmm. The star power. I mean, I saw Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, and Grant Hill interview him last night, and there was a sense of those guys weren't intimidated,
right,
but you could see the respect that those guys have. First ballot Hall of Famers, guys that are they're nickname guys that are worldwide known. D. Wade, Shaq. Mm-hmm. You could go into almost any corner of the world and somebody's going to know who those guys are. You could see the respect that they had in just talking to Zion last night after another dominant performance. And I just was sitting there thinking about these guys giving Zion the respect after a performance like that, and you could hear it coming through in their questions and their praise for him. And we don't ever see that with him. I mean, you really kind of feel closed off to him.
It's not that I feel closed off. I almost wonder if he's just so good that, like, we aren't acknowledging how good he is anymore. We're just sort of numb to it, like we just expect him to do these incredible things, set these records, do what he's doing. But he's done it so often that we're kind of like, oh, he did it again. And it doesn't seem like as big of a deal.
And another thing, I don't know if we talk enough about him especially in our industry, because we're so we can be finicky when we want to be, right? When we want to be.
Right.
And I don't know if there is a better team player superstar. If there was another team guy that is a bona fide superstar like Zion, because if you want to go back and listen to the interview on TNT last night after the game with Shaq, with D Wade, all of the questions that are steered towards Zion are about him, about his numbers, about his improvement in the offseason, about the way his body has changed since he's been in the NBA. And every single answer, he's a nightmare to interview because he's very short and to the point.
Yes.
Like he's about 8 or 10
Right.
words and he's out.
But at least he knows that about himself.
He does. And he says it. He says it. Everything's about the team. Everything's about improving and getting wins for the team. He doesn't really, I don't know if he truly doesn't care about his stat line, but he is, the way that he presents it and the way that he tells it, I believe him. I mean, like, I don't see him as a guy that worries about his numbers, worries about his touches, worries about his stats, and every answer is geared around the team and the team winning and all he can do to help that function. I don't know. For whatever reason, I thought about this last night. I wanted to bring it up this morning because I just don't know if it's even, I know we don't talk about it, but I never hear anybody talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's
again,
a number one pick.
I think we take it for granted that he's 20 years old.
He's not 20. He's
not
19.
He's 19. I think we take it for granted that this is like a 19-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
Like look at other 19-year-olds. They're not acting that way, you know? He just has that presence of mind to be in those interviews. Like you said, he knows himself. So when he is being interviewed, he doesn't ramble. He doesn't say a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be out there. He answers the question, he's done. To have the presence of mind to be able to do that in the spotlight is wild.
Well, Rivs, he's not 20. He's a teenager. He's negotiating contracts with Michael Jordan. He's the number one pick in the draft. Mike Krzyzewski really kind of changed the way that he treated with the way that he treated Zion. I mean, he didn't make different rules. I don't know the ins and outs of the Duke basketball program, but I've followed it enough to see that he talks about him a little different.
Right.
I mean, he definitely seems a little different on Zion, but yet when you talk to him or when you listen to him speak, he's so incredibly humble. I mean, like it's so.
He's always been that.
He always has
always
been, but now that he's in New Orleans and you know that he lives this life. I mean, think about it. I didn't see one video in the offseason of him training, like since the bubble to where he is now, and how different he looks.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he looks like a grown man now.
Yeah.
If you rewind the tape 6 months ago, he kind of looked like a kid. I mean, he still kind of looked like
grown into his body.
His shoulders weren't quite.
He's losing that baby
he's
fat,
got
you know?
he's got the frame. I mean, when you look at it, you're like,
No
Jesus,
doubt.
look at this guy. But even on the frame, you could still see like his shoulders weren't real defined. I mean, he's like starting to chisel up,
out.
man. I mean, and he's 19. The thought of him at 24. But what I love about him, and I don't hate guys that put off-season videos out.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like that stuff doesn't
But he's
piss
not
me
like,
off.
"Look
That does
at
stuff
me."
that
He's just not that guy.
you would think he could easily be that guy.
Yeah.
And he never has been.
Well, you brought up the training videos. I mean,
He is 20. I'm sorry. He is 20.
I mean,
he is 20.
what, 19, 20, whatever.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. Imagine yourself at 20. You
Right.
know?
He ain't 21. He can't buy a drink
right.
yet.
Right.
In
Well, but
New
so
Orleans.
you're talking about these training videos. Let's not even talk about training videos. He's just not a showy guy, period. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't see
Like, I'm looking up his- I'm looking up his Instagram
I was
right
actually
now.
just about to say, I don't know if he has one. I mean, he might, I'm sure. Just
I'd
for
imagine like his
promotional stuff.
his people have been like, bro, you
But
got to get one.
The only
Right.
thing I have seen out of Zion, I think that comes to mind since he has moved to New Orleans, I think maybe he went to the boot like once, like one time, and there's a bunch of like Snapchat videos that like went around
Yeah.
that were saved. But I mean, he wasn't doing anything crazy. He just entered the boot.
Yeah, I mean, he's
You
got
know,
he's got a Snapchat. I mean, I'm sorry, he's got an Instagram.
But I mean, like,
it's like
that's
him
as
like
wild as it got.
making shots. It's him like sitting at the scores
Yes.
table.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's nothing. Like you wouldn't even know that he's repped by
But
Jordan.
But even just
No.
being in
Could you
New
imagine being
Orleans.
20 if I was wearing Michael Jordan's shoe? Like how big of a bleep hole I would be?
But like, but think about
You know
it
what
this
I
way:
mean?
with our phones,
One of
everyone in
one.
New Orleans who wants that shot, like, of course, when he walked in the boot, everyone got their phone out, they
Mm-hmm.
Snapchatted it. We haven't seen a lot of that.
I know.
No,
Like,
we
is it
haven't.
because
That's right.
people just respect him, or is it because he's not doing a lot of it?
I just think that's who he is.
Yeah,
I
people-
really do. I
yeah.
mean, think about it. You can't be this fake for this long.
Yeah,
No.
for sure.
You really
I
can't.
don't
And
think
you
you can.
can't be fake when you have the opportunities and access to money and resources like he does.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, he's a multimillionaire.
He also seems very private.
Very.
Very private.
I mean, you and I had a chance to speak to his stepfather during a time pre-draft publicly. And the first thing we all said in the room when we hung up was, wow, what a humble dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, going through all of this, I mean, they sounded very
Well, he's very
grounded.
close with his family.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
And I think
if
that's
they're
obvious.
That way, that's, you know,
But if you missed it, the dude's an animal. I mean, like last night, he shot 13 of 16 from the floor. I mean, I gave you the stats just a couple of minutes ago, but I mean, check this stat out. He was 13 of 16 last night. Williamson became the only player in league history to average 23 points or more on 60% or better field goal percentage through their first 50 games in the NBA. He had 31 last night, 7 boards, 6 assists. Like I said, his body is continuing to develop. I mean, you wonder about his frame, how long it can last banging night in, night out in the NBA. I mean, he does. I saw somebody inside of the bunker that wrote, he waddles like he's 60, one team, one podcast.
giant.
He does have an old man
gait,
strut to
yeah.
him.
but like,
you know what I mean?
his
But
body is so big. Imagine having a body that big and not waddling.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have a little bit of a waddle when you have
Yeah.
that much body
He's
mass.
got a good base on him.
Yeah.
Dude got that ass. man.
I
Yeah.
mean, he is big.
He got that ass. He got that ass. I mean, that space clear that he's got, man. I mean, it's just.
But he's putting up those like, almost. I don't want to, denigrate the name of Shaq, but he's putting up those Shaq-like lines with 13 of 60, and the efficiency is there. And he's from a small town. That's why he kind of has that privacy to him. Like he
But
could have
his
transferred
body-
to schools, and he didn't.
He got double teamed at the top of the arc last night. He
Well,
got double teamed
Build the
at
wall.
the top of the arc last night. I mean, he's 6'6".
His body is just, and it's always, yeah, okay, he's got muscle now, but he's always been a big guy. And I was trying to remember, it's hard to remember so long ago, like LeBron, when he came into the league, what he looked like. We think about LeBron now, but like when he came into the league, he was still a big guy, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't the LeBron that he is now, like thick.
Oh no,
cut.
he
no,
was
yeah.
just long and
Yeah.
athletic with
Smaller.
bounce.
Looked like a kid.
But
Yeah.
Definitely.
Zion never looked that way. He has always had that giant
I wonder
build.
how much we'll look back at these videos of even like his first year at Duke, his first year in the league. But I mean, like
I don't
you
think
know,
we'll ever think he was small.
I mean,
No.
his first year in the league, the bubble, all that stuff. I mean, it was just so
Strange
weird. But I wonder how much we'll look back at those videos and be like, golly, look at him. I mean, he
Yeah.
looks like a baby.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Hilton Guidry says inside of the bunker, Zion gets hammered almost every time he goes to the board. He never gets fouls like Shaq. And I think that's what I think it's that body. I think I remember. I mean,
Boy, a rock.
Yeah, you talk. I remember talking to officials at the time, and it's like you do get caught not watching the game, but when you referee a guy like Shaq, you get caught watching and see the physical contact that he takes, and it just doesn't have the impact. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the impact when a power forward comes running and bellies him up and tries to defend him. He doesn't budge, and I think that's the thing with Zion. When he goes in there, he's kind of like a bowling ball where he's clearing everybody out. And he's not trying to do it.
just
I mean,
giant.
his body he's just strong, and he's so fun to watch. I know that we have been watching him now for over a year in this market, but last night and just in sitting down, watching his game, hearing the humility that he has in the post game, and talking to guys like Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal. I don't know. I think that we're just very lucky to have access to him. I remember saying when he was drafted, the first thing I thought of was my son. The first thing I thought of was Jay, because now the thought that I have is, he was 9 years old when that happened. For the next, at least you feel like 10 years of his life, he will be able to watch Zion Williamson develop into a pro basketball player. Think about that as a kid, as a young sports fan. Having that type of access to that type of athlete, and it comes right on the heels, which is crazy to me, in New Orleans, where you lose your most popular athlete ever, and you here comes the next float in the parade in Zion Williamson.
That's what it was like when Chris Paul came to the league. That's kind of figure he was for me. I mean, it was kind of definitely different than Zion. Zion's got more upside than Chris Paul. But Chris Paul was definitely that kind of guy where you see him come in, you're a huge fan, and then just kind of
you think it's a franchise changer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but even watching Zion's relationship with Breeze, like I know one leaves, one comes, but like just watching their relationship has been so cool. And again, I'm sure we have some bias because we are in this area and in this market, so we watch it happen. But it's just been a really exciting time to be a sports fan in New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think South Louisiana. I mean, I think in Louisiana, I mean, really, you're still in the golden age of LSU football. I mean, that got revitalized. I mean, it's kind of, it's taken its dips and highs and lows. But, I mean, for the most part, I mean, give me a 22-year, 21-year stretch where you've experienced anything like you've seen in LSU football like they have the past 2 decades. The Saints, obviously, have never experienced the success that they've had under Sean Payton. And then you see guys like Zion. You start to feel like if they can get the NBA right in New Orleans and they can be competitive to the sense where they're just a playoff team, you would think at some point with a superstar like Zion, with a guy like Brandon Ingram, who's bona fide superstar, all-star, that you could recruit to, that they might break through. You know what I mean? And you think about the possibility of hosting an NBA Finals with Zion Williamson in New Orleans, in the middle of the summer. I mean, how cool that would be, how awesome that would be.
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
So, yeah, I wanted to take the time to recognize Zion this morning because I don't think that we've really, maybe even down here in the Baton Rouge market, embraced him as our superstar, embraced him as our guy, embraced him as kind of the face of the Pelicans, just because I think the NBA season's been distracted and we've been distracted. But
I think it's that weird season.
Yeah.
It's like we haven't been able. He was here, and then everything kind of fell apart in sports in the world, and so we haven't had enough time to really be able to embrace him.
Yeah, you're right. Reynard Francois says, "How long until Zion signs with Clutch Sports and demands his way out of New Orleans?" Look, I would think that the last 10 minutes that I just gave on Zion would set up for me to say, I'm not going to be surprised if that happens because I know that, these superstars can elevate to a status where they can become a little bigger than the game, where Anthony Davis can say, I want out of New Orleans, get fined $100,000, get to LA and sign a $50 million contract for him. That probably was a good business. That was a good business move. He got what he wanted.
No doubt.
Anthony Davis was as humbled as Zion when he came in. He was as likable. He was as much of a guy that you were a guy that you were sensing and saying he'll be here forever. He'll never leave New Orleans.
It was until the moment that he wasn't. It was like this, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa.
Exactly.
Who is this guy? So it could happen.
It could happen. And you know what? I don't hate Anthony Davis for doing that. Right? I mean, I really don't. And to see him go out and get a championship and the things that he wanted to do, that's fine. And New Orleans won that trade as well. New Orleans won from that business deal as well.
Definitely.
Brandon Ingram. I mean, Brandon Ingram, for as much as we're talking about Zion, Ingram really could be the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be. I mean, he's Kevin Durant 2.0.
Right.
I mean, he's 7 feet, got a long wingspan, he can shoot three, he can handle it, he defend. I mean, I love Brandon Ingram. But I just think that if Zion comes to a day where he makes that decision, then, by all means, that then I don't say I support it, but I understand it.
Right.
I mean,
as a business person.
In the sense that we're in the piece that we're in now for Zion, I just think that we really have to respect what we're watching.
Yeah.
I mean, we just really have to embrace that this guy he's a superstar. He's humbled. He's hardworking. He's everything you really could ask for to pull for.
Yeah.
He's everything you could really ask for as a parent who has a son who loves the NBA, loves the Pelicans, and so he loves Zion. You want to go to a Pelicans game?
Yeah.
Let me fight. Let me try to get his tickets. Let me try to get his tickets. You know what I mean? Like that makes you want to get out there and support the product. I think it's cool to watch, and I think we have access to a a really cool superstar, somebody that in 2021 is rare to find.
Right.
You can't go to his Instagram and see him getting on private planes or talking about his personalized shoe from Michael Jordan. You can't see him working out. You can't even get a video in the offseason of him putting up jumpers. And then he just shows up. He shows up on opening day. His body looks right. His game has changed. Embrace it. Love that, right? I mean, I love that. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet, Geaux, Chevrolet.com. Nick Richard, Lee Carney have an established name in the automotive industry. They've got 20 years of experience that they've brought over to Go Chevrolet. They're now the owners and managers over there. They're running the dealership how they see fit. It's fantastic, man. If you're keeping up with them on social media, you see cars flying off the lot. New cars, pre-owned certified cars. Their inventory is down there. They're jam-packed. They're in Laplace, Louisiana. So if you're going to New Orleans from Baton Rouge, from Lafayette on I-10, stop in and see them in Laplace. If you're coming this way from New Orleans, stop and see the gang over there in Laplace at Go Chevrolet. You can shop them online, Geaux, Chevrolet.com. Next, we'll talk a little bit about Leonard Fournette. Bruce Arians yesterday tells a local newspaper that him and Fournette had a discussion going into the playoffs where he said, either embrace your role or we're going to cut you. Next thing you know, Lenny's in a playoff on a playoff run, Super Bowl champ, and now he's at the negotiating table for his next contract. What should it look like? We'll talk about it next, coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Jordy Culotta Show rolling on here on this Wednesday, powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, stick around in the second hour. We're going to talk to Will Clapp, 8 a.m., 8:15, Ben Mintz from New York City, and 8:30, Chad Durbin. Give us a little baseball discussion. And the thing about Durbs that we love is you can talk everything with him. He's a hybrid. You can talk baseball. Yeah, you sound great.
Okay.
Baseball.
Mickey boy.
He's a
Get that
huge
right.
basketball fan, so we'll get a little thoughts on him on a guy like Zion Williamson. And we will talk to Durbs coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Wide open here in the first hour. So if you've got something that you want to interact, jump inside of the bunker. We're on YouTube. We appreciate the thumbs up. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the shares here on the Jordy Culotta Show. So remember, hit us on YouTube. And the podcast is brought to you daily by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and their crew over at RMB Builders can custom make you a home today. If you are in commercial and you need an upgrade or you need a remodel, they can help you with that as well, as they're commercially licensed over at Rhett Bourgeois and RMB Builders. That's rmb-builders.com, or you can call them at 921-7062. Bruce Arians had a pretty interesting story yesterday that came out, and it was around Leonard Fournette. Fournette experiencing a ton of success right now after a playoff run with Tampa Bay that ended in a Super Bowl winning performance in Tampa versus the dominant Kansas City Chiefs. But yesterday, the Tampa Bay Times got a quote from head coach Bruce Arians of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers about a discussion that he had with former LSU and St. Aug superstar Leonard Fournette. Arians told the TB Times, "I said, this is your situation. It can't change at the drop of a hat. Either embrace it or cut me." I said, "What do you want? Because this is a very special team and you're a part of it. I think you've got a feeling of that. Just see if you can hang in there to see what happens." And as Arians said he did, and I'm really proud of him. Fournette, who signed with Tampa Bay after being released by Jacksonville last August, totaled 448 yards from scrimmage, 4 touchdowns, in 4 postseason victories for Tampa Bay that included 89 rushing yards and a 27-yard touchdown scamper in the Super Bowl. He had 46 more through the air as Tampa won 31-9. We were talking a little bit about this before we went on the show today. And look, I was pulling for Leonard Fournette throughout that playoff and championship run as hard as anybody because I want to see him succeed. I hated to see this story pop up going into the playoffs because I'd imagine that Fournette would really have seen the advantage and the benefit of being in this locker room. And not to say that this story discredits that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think that's a competitor saying, I want the ball more. You know, and really if Fournette went in there and said that, I'd imagine that Arians probably deep down probably likes that. You know what I mean? You don't want,
he's a competitor.
You don't want your superstar. You don't want your running back coming in there and saying, "Hey, I appreciate you not playing me and teaching me a lesson this season."
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm really grateful for it.
And, go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, Leonard ain't smelled the bench since, what, 5th grade? Like, he's never been in that position before, so it had to be extremely humbling for a coach to be like, "I understand you're not happy, but this is the way we're doing it here."
Do you think he was humbled, though?
I think he had to have been because, like Lloyd said, I don't think he's ever been in a situation where you could really look. And now Darius Geis maybe when he was at LSU, but I don't think that Fournette had the experience in the game enough to really realize your position might be in trouble.
You might be 1B now.
Yeah, I mean, there is a dude back there that's as good as you or can do some things better than you can. Ronald Jones could.
Right.
Like in Tampa this year, I think really through the first 9-10 games of the season, Ronald Jones was the dude. I mean, he was the guy that they wanted and was probably the better option. But as Fournette understood the offense and got his feet underneath him, I think he realized that I'm the guy. This team is better with me on the field.
And I think the team started to realize that too.
Sure. I think more than anybody, 12 did.
Right.
Right? I
I
think Brady was starting to say, we got to run 28. This cat's got to touch the ball. I mean, he's just too good. And the story yesterday that came out, I was a little discouraged in the sense of I knew that Leonard was going to get the lessons that he needed in football this season going into a contract year. I wanted to know how he would take those principles and lessons from this year and bring them to the negotiating table because I would believe that there are still executives, coaches, decision makers, maybe even his representation that are a little nervous to be at the table. Right? Like in the sense of a long-term deal. If I'm Tampa, I'm not inking him to a long-term deal.
2-year.
Maybe. Right? Maybe.
Incentive-laden contract to do it again. Prove it at a full year. Let's see what you got.
Keep showing me. And look, just by the nature of that position, it's tough to to commit to a running back in the NFL, especially with the style of play that Leonard plays at. He's not a Kamara where Kamara can play a little physical and finesse. Lenny's all physical.
Right.
He got no finesse to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's everything. Everything is punt. Everything's hit. Everything's brutal. Everything is body toll hits, and he's got the Adrian Peterson big body back, but it still takes its toll on you every Sunday taking those shots. So I hope that he takes this season, understands the advantage that he brings to the locker room. But in the same sense, it's not like it's always been where you're the end-all, be-all. You're the guy in which the team is going to operate, how you go, we go, all that stuff. It's not like that anymore, man. And I think that's got to be what was the game? We talked about it publicly, but the game where he scores the touchdown, he runs, and him and Brady embrace and are hugging, and you can see this big, huge smile on Fournette's face through his helmet that I remember saying to myself, and I said publicly the next day, I can't remember seeing him that happy on a football
field. He knew that he'd done this good thing, so he was proud of himself, but he was also happy that he had made Tom Brady proud. He was happy that he had made his team proud, his coaches proud. I think that was the game right before the Super Bowl. It
was a couple before the Super Bowl. Because
I remember the photo.
The 4-game stretch that he went on was really kind of like there was dominoes that were falling in his favor. I mean, like things were just happening. Ronald Jones got hurt. He was getting more snaps. He was playing well. He was holding up. He was healthy. He was starting to catch the ball a little bit better than he had been. Reynard Francois said he's 26 years old. This is his last opportunity to take big money. He's not taking a 2-year deal.
He might have to.
Yeah, he might have to.
I mean,
I'm saying from the other side, from Leonard's side, I get what he wants. He wants the long-term commitment. He wants the big money contract. He's looking around guys in his draft class, including Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, that just got all the money. I mean, McCaffrey's making 16 a year. Kamara's making 14 and a half a year. Leonard Fournette was sandwiched in, was in between those two draft picks. I mean, like he was up there chosen with McCaffrey. Kamara was down later in the draft, and he's yet to be paid. So I'd imagine he's looking around at the market saying, "I want a piece of that pie.
Right.
I want some of that. I want a cut of that. I want my $9 to $11 million a year." Which
who doesn't?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure his side is pretty adamant on what they want.
Right.
I'm talking about from the other side. If I'm the team, if I'm the GM, if I'm the guy that has to extend that contract and have the confidence and trust that he's going to live up to the terms of it, if it's long term. I don't trust him in a long-term deal still. After the 4 games I saw in the playoffs, after the way he balled out, I know he can do that. Like, when have we ever debated whether or not Leonard Fournette was a good football player? Right. I don't remember that time. I don't remember we've ever debated that. We've always agreed that he is stellar. He's a fantastic player. But if his mind's right, and his mind's got to be right, then that's the part that I'm really wanting to bet on. That's the part that I need to figure out. And if it takes a 1 or 2 year deal in the meantime that, like Lloyd said, is incentive-based, that you prove to me before I prove to you how much you mean to me, I think that's fair. Brett Dagro says 4 years, $25 million. I don't know how Leonard would feel about that, but, I mean, $6 million a year at running back at 26 years old, gets you to 30. I'd ink that deal tonight.
Yeah.
If I'm Fournette.
100%.
You know what I mean?
The way that you're talking about Fournette's almost the exact opposite as the way you're talking about Zion.
Mm-hmm.
Like the physicality is there. Like he is a good football player. That no one has ever questioned that. It's all those things that you were just praising Zion for that Leonard doesn't necessarily have.
Well, I mean,
it's the ego and it's the team. Like talking about the team, being there for the team. That's the stuff he's missing.
Yeah.
And he finally, I feel like Tampa Bay, he finally bought in. Like there's some instances of him like mic'd up during the NFC Championship game and stuff. Like, this is why I came here. This is what I wanted to do.
Yep.
Like, he not only for himself, but to actually prove like maybe it just was kind of right situation for him, And I think Tom sees him as a I kind of like a little Garrett Blunt, like coming in the playoffs
Sure.
and come do your thing. You don't have to do it all year, but when we're going to get here with me. So whenever we get here, it's time for you to show out.
Do you want to be a part of it?
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to
No,
win 10 games with Tom Brady.
The Brady experience couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, he was
for
at a
Fournette.
crossroads.
Yeah, he really was.
Definitely.
He really was at a crossroads. I didn't know whether or not he was going to play himself out of the league.
to the point where he was about to get, coach had to call in and have a conversation like, do you want to get cut?
Yeah.
Like, do you
Yeah.
think
Like,
you want to
tell
be
me-
here?
tell me,
Right.
cut me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not that's a sobering conversation to have when you're
Oh.
like, I had the world at my fingertips, and you're gonna sit here and tell me I'm gonna get cut? Like, I picked you. It's like, well, bro, it's not working the way you thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, Bruce Arians is that dude, can have that conversation.
Right.
So, I mean, good for Leonard, and I'm proud of him. But
That could have
you
gone
want to
the
see the
other
momentum
direction,
keep
too.
going. Yeah, you want to see the momentum keep going
Yeah.
positively for him.
Would you give him a long-term deal right now? Yes or no?
No.
No. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think
And we are definitely not the minds that are in the room that are deciding this.
but I think it is that obvious.
Right.
But there's going to be a team like a Chicago or somebody like that saw what they did. Like, we need a splash right now. And he's going to get an offer
I
from
know.
a team.
Like, I hope that,
And
for his sake, I want him to get his money. By no means am I saying I don't want you to get your money, man.
always.
But from an NFL experience standpoint, that money might go longer if you play 1 or 2 more years with Brady.
Right.
Realize what
Establish
it means
yourself.
every single day to be a pro.
Right.
Every day, what it means to be a pro.
I think he
I'll never
absolutely
forget.
deserves it. If he does that, he absolutely deserves it.
100%. 100%. At that point, if he passes those tests, I'm paying
No,
you.
yeah, that's it.
Like
Yeah,
you
right,
tell him that
right.
in the negotiation. Now, the gamble that he takes is that I put my body out there on the line
Yeah,
in
right.
between getting back to the negotiating for the second time. And what if I blow my knee out? What if I got to have?
That's always a
Yeah.
possibility, you know.
That's right.
Michael Kleber in the bunker, he'll get the money and fade again. He's never been able to handle the fame. I mean, maybe that's part of it. You get paid, and then you don't have to.
But the thing with Leonard is he has such a good personality. Like, you saw him on the boat, you saw him, the team loves him.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like kind of finding that balance of being, the jovial, fun guy on the team and be like, sometimes you got to put your head down and go to work, you know? And he'll find, I think Tom Brady can help him find that balance.
Will Clapp was a teammate of Leonard Fournette's at LSU. We'll talk to Clapp about Fournette's success, about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl within the NFC South, and what's next for Clapp. Clapp is a restricted free agent this offseason for New Orleans, as he was a 7th-round pick just 4 years ago. And now what's next for Clapp? He'll be a guest here on the Jordy Culotta Show coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. We'll also talk to Ben Mintz at 8:15, and then at 8:30 this morning, we will talk to Chad Durbin. Looking forward to those conversations. Nick Frugier says that he would flourish in San Francisco. Reynard Francois says he'll be back to running against 8-man boxes. Some team will give him desperate money. I agree. I think that there's always one. I mean, there's always a Denver Bronco for a Tim Tebow out there. That is one team that just sees something that says we're going to pay him and we're going to make the draft pick. And Fournette is much more of an attractive case than Tebow was coming out of college. If you need a running back and you look at the last 4 games, or you really look at the last 8 games that Fournette had for Tampa Bay, I mean, you could be suckered in. You could be pulled in.
If you look at his career, it's not been bad.
No.
He put up numbers in
2 down
Jacksonville.
years. Yeah, his second year was down after a stellar rookie season.
How many
he came
years has
in.
he been in the league?
He just finished up his 4th.
Right.
Gosh, it feels like he's been there so much longer.
I know. I mean, he's the same draft class as McCaffrey
You
and
said that
Kamara.
earlier, I don't know. I guess I forget that.
And he was the first back off the board, right?
Yeah, 4 overall.
He was 4 overall, and then McCaffrey went.
I think 5th or 6th.
Yeah, he might have gone like right after him, 5th.
He just seems so much older to me. I don't know why. He looks like
he looks
like a man. He's probably looked that way since he was 14.
I was going to say, when that kid shows up to the park, you're like, is he for real on that team?
Right,
Like,
right.
He's
I'm
playing
gonna
with
see that
us.
birth certificate.
Oh,
you
bro,
know?
I mean,
Like,
This
what
is
are we
12
doing?
and under.
Many of those Saturday mornings at New Orleans park grounds, like, hold up,
Hold up.
we're not kicking this thing off until you give me a birth certificate
His
on this
mom used to have
kid.
to carry it. His
Right.
mom used to have to bring it to games.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so
absolutely.
wild. I guess he has an old face.
Dale Me says, man, there's too much Tampa talk on this show. Dale, we're talking
This
about
is
Leonard.
LSU. This is
Yeah, we're talking about
LSU
Leonard.
talk.
All right, remember, stick around. Coming up in the second hour, Will Clapp will stop by here. Come back with us, the Jordy Culotta Show. We will close out hour number 1 next.
Oh, give me 1 second.
After Lloyd throws it out.
I was looking up Leonard.
And now.
And now.
Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the South Down Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at rmb-builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Go Chevrolet is under new management, but it's the same old familiar names that you know here from the area. Lee Carney and Nick Richard are up and running in LaPlace, Louisiana, and they want you to stop in today. But if you can't, they'll make it easy for you. They'll come to you. Log online to GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet is conveniently located on Airline Highway in LaPlace, Louisiana. Shop all the inventory, whether it's new or pre-owned, at GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Can you be assured that the air and surfaces in your home are clean, sanitized, and safe for you and your entire family? You can now by logging on to valera.com/Jordy Culotta, where you, your home, your office, your family can be protected 24/7 with active pure technology. This NASA-based science has proven 99.9% reduction of airborne SARS-2 and COVID-19 virus in just 3 minutes. Log on now to valera.com/Jordy Culotta.
The Jordy Culotta Show merchandise site is live. Shirts, hats, and even swag for the children is available at jordy.itemorder.com. That's jordy.itemorder.com.
What's up?
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by Go Chevrolet. I was waiting on. I don't know why. I was waiting on a rejoin.
Really quick, how do I sound?
Better.
Okay.
Really? I think maybe
Better?
it's fine.
Hello?
That sounds good.
No,
That sounds good.
I
to
don't
me.
think so.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, whatever. I can't. If you can't hear me, I'm sorry.
All right, let's get to some of these pop culture stuff that we have coming up here on Jordy Culotta Show. Johnson and Spillers brings you the Jordy Culotta Show daily here. Remember, if you need anything, if you need crowns for your for dentistry, if you need pediatric dentistry, if you need crowns, if you need fillings, we told you about our great Valentine's Day giveaway that was featured around Botox and teeth whitening from our friends over at Johnson and Spillers. Stop in and see them. 2 locations, Prepara Avenue out in Gonzales, and then on Perkins Road in between Segan and Bluebonnet here in Baton Rouge. You can get in touch with them online at johnsonspillers.com. Go see them. They are the official dentist of the Jordy Culotta Show, as you can find them online at johnsonspillers.com. What we got, Riffs?
Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all just some things that are happening in the sports world. We're just gonna respond to them. We're gonna start with Eric Musselman.
Musselman?
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's a kind of a Baton Rouge guy. So
Yes.
people heard on him.
Yep.
So they beat. He's now the coach for Arkansas.
Arkansas.
They beat Missouri last week. So he comes into the locker room and he does the thing where he rips his shirt off again.
Oh.
He runs into the locker room yelling, "Yeah, that's what's up." And he tears off his shirt and he gets in the middle of his players, which is fine. I get that he's excited. Missouri's top 10, whatever. Is Arkansas back? Whatever. But this is becoming a thing that he's doing consistently. He did it when he was at Nevada in 2008 when they beat Cincinnati. Like, are we cool with him being the guy who tears off his shirt in the locker room?
So a little background on Musselman. Musselman was here for a year.
Yes.
With Ben Simmons. And I'm sorry, he left the year before Ben Simmons. So he had Jarrell Martin.
Was he only here
Jordan
for a year?
Mickey was only here for
Okay.
1 year, and he got the Nevada gig. That's why they had to bring in Brendan Surr, who was the former Dream Team assistant coach, to coach Ben Simmons and that group. Antonio Blakeney.
Did he tear his shirt off here?
I don't know if he tore his shirt off here, but what he was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a ball of energy. Like, you would go into practice, and Johnny Jones was the head coach at LSU during this time. You would go into a basketball practice, and
I mean, he's ripped though.
yeah, but he's little
like
bitty.
dad
He's like
ripped.
my size.
He's dad ripped. Like,
Bro, I mean, he's rocking a 6-pack. I'm watching the video right now.
yeah, we have the video on.
And he'd be like doing like push-ups in the middle of the floor while everybody's like doing like layup
Look at
line
this,
drills.
He's so tall. He's so tiny.
He's
Look
little
at him.
bitty.
I mean,
I want to say that I'm probably like taller than him. Like not, you know what I mean, but like eyeball level, my eyeballs are taller than his, and
That's
I mean,
what's up.
He's just a ball of
I
energy,
mean,
man.
I don't know. He just keeps doing it. I'm just like, are we cool with him being the guy that does that? And when does it become like, okay,
Too much
Okay.
for the team. I think you should be able to feed that. You should be able to read the room. You know what I mean?
Like,
you should
get
be able
one
to.
per year, maybe.
Well, I saw where he did the UPS or the FedEx delivery guy because
yeah.
it was always delivering.
My buddy's on staff with Arkansas, and he was like, "Well, we got sent to the group chat, and he was like, not our proudest moment with that one." He goes, "We're workshopping,
Because that thing went viral.
Yeah,
I mean, it was out there.
Oh man. Okay. So Joe Buck was recently on Colin Coward's new podcast, Volume. It's the Colin Coward podcast on Volume, and he talked about getting comfortable on the job. And so he talked about calling postseason baseball and how he would, before the game, get a runner to go get just the biggest beer they could find,
Yeah.
and he would drink it throughout the thing to calm him down.
Really?
And so then he talked about how, like, just the compatibility of working with other people and building that rapport. And he talked about Troy Aikman, how it wasn't that easy to build a rapport with him for whatever reason. He didn't say he's a bad guy. He was just like, it just didn't come naturally. So they would drink tequila, Grand Marnier, and grapefruit during the broadcast. This isn't like a like, this is while they are on
Right.
Sundays. They
Let's
are
get a little loose.
drinking. How do we feel about that?
I got no problem with
I mean,
that.
you know
I
how
love
feel
that.
about it.
I love that. I'm telling you, the first time I ever asked to do any public speaking, I was like, I can handle this. I got this. On the way there, I was driving. I was
You're
like,
like,
I got
I
this.
don't
I
got
got this. I got this, man. It's all good. I mean, I was talking a little bit about something that I wasn't really sure on. It was more of just kind of like an introduction, get the thing moving. You're really out of the way.
Right.
Just as long as you do your job.
But that's almost harder to do.
As long as you do your job, nobody will pay attention to you and it'll be all good. Nobody will remember that you were there that night. But if you screw it up, you're going to be the news.
Offensive
You're
lineman.
gonna be the
You know what I
guy.
mean? You're going to be the guy.
Right.
Cornerback.
Yeah, well,
Right? I mean, like, if you never call my name all night, I'm shining.
Right.
I'm shining.
Right.
Stingler.
And when I walked into it was at LaBerge, and I was coming down the escalator, and it was in that little restaurant right there, and it was packed. Everybody, like, it was packed. And this anxiety
got this?
just came over me in the sense of, I don't know if I can do this. I was sweating. I was so nervous. My hands, my palms were sweating, and it got to a point
He's
where
weak.
I'm gonna flunk. I'm gonna fail. I'm not gonna do this. And I just went to the bar and I got 2 shots of tequila,
Yeah.
and I just whap, fired them back, and I mean ribs. 10 minutes into that thing,
Magic
I'm cutting
juice.
jokes. I'm holding the mic. I'm pointing at a guy in the
You're
first
pointing at
row.
him.
I'm kind of winking at a girl in the back. I mean, it's like I'm feeling it, man. I am
I mean,
feeling it.
I don't mind it. I mean, I think it's a little surprising to me that they let them do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, if anybody's got the pull, it's Joe Bucks. Like you're telling me I,
mean,
can't have
or
a drink up
Aikman.
here.
What are you
Yeah,
gonna say to
both of them.
Aikman?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, who's the guy at Fox that has to go tell, hey Troy, what's in the cup?
Well, but
It's Grand Marnier. What you gonna do about it, cuz?
And go make it a double next
it was
time.
also funny that he was like, I mean, I was cool with just beer, but then when I started working with Troy, we had to like up our game.
The Hall of Famer.
Tequila, you know. I thought that was.
I drink with Michael Irvin.
Yeah, that's right.
Last little thing here before we get to Clapp. So fan-controlled football. Jordy and I have been fans in the past of your alternate football leagues. Sadly, XFL did not make it. RIP.
Is Manziel's back?
Manziel's so fan-controlled football. So that's what this is. Do you know? Am I about to just?
Yeah, you're about to break news.
Anybody?
To me.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Okay, so you're about to break news to me. It started last weekend. So it is exactly. Fans can vote to impact the decisions of their favorite teams, from naming the team to even calling plays. So that's the feature that's meant to draw people. But of course, they have some like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I am. We're gonna take a break before we do that.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I was like, what are we doing here? So the feature that like the fans get to call the shots is supposed to draw people in, but then they've got some big names that are attached to it. Marshawn Lynch, who actually was a commentator for the first game. Richard Sherman, the guy who's married to Serena Williams. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's the co-founder of Reddit. Like a whole bunch of random people. Quavo. Like it's just like think of a place in the world and someone's attached to this. So I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it. I kind of caught a little bit of it. So the 4 team names: the Zappers, the Beast, the Glacier Boys with a Z.
Oh, that's my team right there. Let's go.
The Screaming Eagles. So like things happen, like fans get to call plays. So I thought it was going to be a little wild with that, but you basically get to pick like pass or run, and then based on that, the algorithm gives you like 3 options. So it's not
like Madden.
Yeah, it's not like people are like.
So you can call the play or you can gamble on the play.
No, you get to call it as the group, like the collective group. You vote on what gets to happen. And so you're seeing a lot of scrambling with QB stuff. My very favorite thing about this league is that there's no kicking. There are not even goalposts to suggest that someone might think about kicking. Instead of kicking an extra point, teams line up in a one-on-one battle between the wide receiver and DB. The quarterback snaps the ball and then has 3 seconds to throw it to his wideout. Like that's it.
Does it matter the distance of the completion?
I don't remember.
Or a little
like,
bubble screen?
Who's
Get the ball back.
Manziel play for?
The Zappers.
The Zappers.
He doesn't play for he doesn't play for them boys.
The Glacier Boys.
So the first game was the Zappers and the Beast. I think that Marshawn is an owner of the Zappers, but he was also in the booth, and he was like, "Yo, I'm about to eat this Caesar salad. Maybe I'll go put a uniform on. I'll go out there. I'll play."
And dude, he got trending on that. Like, dude, if Marshawn gets in the league, I think I might be interested.
Do they have a TV deal?
Yeah, I don't.
It was
remember.
on Twitch.
Yeah,
it was on
okay.
Twitch.
But
All
like
right,
they're
all right,
streaming it all over. Like the videos are everywhere. They're especially Marshawn. Like when he got in there. And I think that's probably why they wanted to tie. Like, are we? So as a group, I think we needed to collectively decide right now.
Let's get in.
Are we
I'm in.
Glacier Boys.
We all
Yeah,
get
I'm
a
in.
Glacier
team.
Boys.
I'm in.
You're obviously
I'm
Glacier
in.
Boys.
Yeah.
Like, you got to pick a different one.
Give me the beast.
Why do I have to pick a different
You
one?
Give me
can't
the
both
beast.
be the same team.
I'll be Zappers.
Okay,
you
so
got-
I got
you
the
got
dumb
Johnny.
one. I got the Screaming Eagles.
And I got the beast.
Yes. You have, the Beast. So you got Manziel. I don't know.
No,
anyone,
he's on the Zappers. He has Manziel. I got the Glacier Boys.
I don't know anybody else who's playing in this
Me
league.
either,
So we
right,
need to do
yeah.
a little research. But last time I picked
Oh,
a
it's with
team,
the Z.
You got on him.
PJ Walker.
You got him,
Yeah,
bro.
kinda.
Well,
You
roughneck
picked the winner.
action. So we'll see. Well, I'll update us each week as our teams play. But I think the concept is cool. I don't know that it's gonna have as big of a draw as like an XFL. Just because, I mean, who's playing in this league?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Manziel.
I think it's, you're
Unreal,
gonna get the Twitch
Unreal.
people. You're gonna get the video game.
Which makes sense. There's a lot of people
Maybe
sitting
that
there.
plays.
There's a lot of people
maybe
sitting
that
there.
plays.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So we are now a fan-controlled football show.
Yep.
And
Go
I'll
Beasts.
keep you updated.
Will Clapp is an NFL football player. He will join us next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, powered and driven every day by Go Chevrolet. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the South Downs Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Go Chevrolet is under new management, but it's the same old familiar names that you know here from the area. Lee Carney and Nick Richard are up and running in LaPlace, Louisiana, and they want you to stop in today. But if you can't, they'll make it easy for you. They'll come to you. Log online to GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet is conveniently located on Airline Highway in LaPlace, Louisiana. Shop all the inventory, whether it's new or pre-owned, at GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Hey, if you're in the market for
You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show with Rivers Huey, presented by Go Chevrolet.
Back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, as we are brought to you daily by Go Chevrolet, and looking forward to our next conversation. A great friend of the show with real estate that everybody wants on the wall but ain't giving it up. Willie Clapp, who is a restricted free agent and freshly minted with his Jordy Culotta Show gear, here with us as our first video interviewee on the Jordy Culotta Show. Willie, good morning. How are you, brother?
Morning, Jordy. How's it going?
Yes, sir. We are doing great, Willie. We are doing great. It is good to see you, man. So tell me, it has got to be a wild off season for you. It's got to be different. Let's just start with your status. You're a restricted free agent. What does that mean as far as your off season goes?
Did you pause him?
No.
There he's back. He's back.
Yeah. Go ahead, Willie. You got us?
Y'all hear me?
Yep, we got you. We got you, buddy. We got you. We got you.
There we go.
Tell me about what it's like to be a restricted free agent.
Yeah, so pretty much the same stuff with the first right to like sign me. They can either tender me, or if another team offers me an offer sheet, they have the right to match it. So if they choose not to do that, then I become an unrestricted free agent, and then I can just go anywhere that I choose.
You got to be getting good feedback. You and I were talking about this last night. I thought that you ended the season, at least the final few games of the regular season and into the playoffs, playing really, really good. How do you feel about where you are in your game, and what is your representation telling you, like what the market is like for you?
Yeah, I thought I ended the season on a high note. It's kind of a wild season. COVID. I was up and down on the practice squad, the active roster. Just talking to my agent, he thinks, just seeing how the market goes, it's really just kind of uncertain. Just, salary cap and all this stuff. He's not really sure how teams are going to, want to play it. But, we're both confident that, I'm going to find a spot and be able to get a seat.
I know you guys didn't accomplish the ultimate goal like you set out to win the Super Bowl in New Orleans. But can you talk about what this last 3-year run has been like, just from your point of view? You're obviously a New Orleans native. You played at LSU. It seems like it's the end for Drew Brees. That's not official, but it seems like the days are definitely numbered for him on the field. Just what has it been like to be a New Orleans Saint the last 3 years from your point of view?
No freeze.
Teams. We were one quarter away from going to the Super Bowl my rookie year. It's just we've had some really great runs, and I couldn't ask for anything more. That's not everybody's typical first 3 years in the league, and it's been an amazing run, and hopefully get to play on some more good teams throughout my career.
What was it like seeing Brees this season? I mean, it felt different. What was it like being his teammate on this ride in what seems like was his final season as a pro?
Drew's the same every year. I mean, he prepares the same way. Every day he shows up to work, and it's just laser focused. I mean, you see why the guy's a Hall of Famer. If he retires or if he comes back, I mean, either way, I know he's still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and I know everybody in the building would love.
What's it like being a pro? What's it like being a guy now with some money in your pocket as a professional in the city that you grew up in? Has that been a cool experience?
Well, money in pocket is a relative term when you're married and have a baby on the way. I don't know about that.
That's good, man. Congratulations, by the way, for the addition to the Clapp family.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. But more on that. I mean, being from that city, I know your dad is very, very prideful Louisianian, a former LSU captain himself, and now you are part of the Saints. You graduated locally there from Brother Martin. What has just been this experience been like for you?
Man, it's been awesome just for like my family. It's been a get to do, and I'm glad I've been able to do it. In front of my
All right, Willie, we're having a little technical difficulties. We are pulling for you. Obviously, we want to get you into the undisclosed location. We want you here. We appreciate your support for what we're doing so much, man. I see that you're rocking the Jordy Culotta gear. We always love the support, dude. Thank you very much. What's the off season like for you? What's the timeline? You getting down to Baton Rouge at all? I know that you do spend some time working out with Moffitt every now and again. How does the off season look for you?
Yeah, I'll probably be up there pretty soon to work out with Posick, and
nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna shoot you a text right when I get up there, and we'll make something happen. I'm gonna have to get to the undisclosed undisclosed site, am I going to get like a private car to pick me up, or what?
You will. There would be a black Suburban with tinted out windows. You will not be able to see anything. You'll be in the penalty box behind in the back with your blindfold on, and then you'll be dropped off for the interview. So don't tell anybody and sign the confidentiality agreement. We appreciate it, and thank you again. Best of luck this offseason. I'll see you soon, man.
I appreciate it.
You got it, man. There's Clapper. Big Will Clapp checking in this morning for our first FaceTime call. Could have gone worse.
Net positive.
Could have gone worse.
Net positive.
Could have gone worse. Could have gone worse. Could have gone worse. Still some things to workshop there. We're trying to add the video element, but all right, we'll take it. We'll starting
Look, that
spot.
could have gone so poorly, and I think it went pretty good.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Definitely.
Tom Granning, that interview brought to you by Booger's Phone. Patrick Kimmery, trial and error, boys. Trial and error.
Seville Jr., somebody over there stealing off Clapp's Wi-Fi.
That's right. That's right. William Ivy, Jordy's about to blow a gasket. No, I'm not, William. Seville Jr., no. Yeah, no. It's we're going to get this thing right, man. We're going to get this thing right. So we're going to talk to Ben Mintz coming up here in a little bit. I'm going to disconnect Bluetooth here. I'm going to go phone.
We'll do one at a time.
Yeah. Durbin's going to go phone, but we're just kind of creeping. And as Willie said, he will be in the undisclosed location here in a couple of weeks because I know Posick is in town, and I know Will Clapp gets down here, and these guys work out with Moffitt. So maybe we can have both those boys on the couch. That couch will shrink real quick, boys.
We got new cushions for the couch, and we were talking about how they're like too stiff, they're too big. We need someone like Zion,
yes,
to like
that big old ass. Put that big old ass over here, Zion. All right, so that could have gone a lot worse. It definitely could have. It didn't go up to the par that we're hoping to create here, but that will be coming soon. I'm glad to see that at least we can start the discussion on getting to the video interviews. When we come back, we'll go to New York City. We'll do that via phone, and we will do that with Ben Mintz, who is a great friend of our show. Daily, we're brought to you by Edward Jones. Remember Edward Jones and Daniel Newman? My man Daniel Newman, he made the right play. He's in the U.S. Virgin Islands this week. A vacation that he planned 6 months ago. I had no idea that it was going to be
I'm surprised he got the
torrential.
flight out.
Got out of here. I sent him a picture yesterday from the undisclosed location with no running water and icicles hanging from the roof. He sent back a palm tree and crashing waves on a sandy white beach. But he is the best, man. Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. He's handling my 401k. He's our financial advisor here. He's located in Central. As we said yesterday, you can't give him a call this week. My man's posted up on the beach, but he can send him an email. And I promise you this, he is on vacation, but he'll get back to you. Daniel.Newman, Newman, at edwardjones.com is where you can email him. I keep telling you, if you're a plant worker, if you work at Exxon, you work at Dow, you work at BASF, and you're a little curious about your financial agreement, what it looks like for your 401k, your benefits, and retirement, Social Security, nobody knows it, the system over at the plants as far as the financials go, like Daniel Newman does over at Edward Jones. He can help you and get you into long-term luxuries, whether it be investments, 401ks, benefits, rollovers, however that stuff works, whatever you need help with, get in touch with Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. Ben Mintz next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers. All over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the South Downs Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Can you be assured that the air and surfaces in your home are clean, sanitized, and safe for you and your entire family? You can now by logging on to valera.com/Jordy Culotta, where you, your home, your office, your family can be protected 24/7 with active pure technology. This NASA-based science has proven 99.9% reduction of airborne SARS-2 and COVID-19 virus in just 3 minutes. Log on now to valera.com/Jordy Culotta.
The Jordy Culotta Show merchandise site is live. Shirts, hats, and even swag for the children is available at jordy.itemorder.com. That's jordy.itemorder.com. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show with Rivers Huey, presented by Go Chevrolet.
Incredible video surfacing from Adam Sandler celebrating 25 years of Happy Gilmore. Are you kidding me, man? I don't know which one I like better, whether it's Sandler's video or Shooter McGavin. Some gumbo, bro. It looked pretty good on video. I can't imagine it had the South Louisiana spice to it, but it, if nothing else, those shrimp look plump.
Yeah, no, so it was cool. So it was actually a guy named Clay Boulware who went to LSU and has big Shreveport ties. He started Gumbo Brothers that's in Brooklyn, and apparently they're starting one in Nashville. But man, it was legit. It was a real deal. Dark Roux had some, not quite as spicy as South Louisiana, but definitely spicy. And you know, it's cool, man. I'm trying to, obviously, a huge part of my plan up here at Barstool. I'm the first person from Louisiana to ever work up here, and so I'm trying to bring the New Orleans, Louisiana culture up here and really shine a light on it nationally and show this to the Stoolies. I'm getting a really good response. And I'll tell you what, Jordy, the Pelicans have performances. This Pelicans thing, man, it's just they're so young, and so they lose to all these horrible teams like Pistons, T-Wolves. Did you see nights like last night where you see the potential of what is possible in a couple of years? Man, this thing can get real, real fun if things break right.
Zion last night, we were talking about it at the beginning of today's show, where he is. Did you see what he accomplished in his first 50 games? He's the only player to average 24 or more on 60% shooting in his first 50 games. Where last night he looked dominant. Can you speak of the potential of what you see from Zion when he's playing like that?
Man, I think it's enormous. And in just this NBA world, we live in this social media world where people are jumping the gun, where people are trying to say, like, not that they weren't saying Zion's bust, but they were, saying, oh, maybe he's just an all-star or whatever. Man, dude's 20 years old. And now when you look at how well he's playing, I mean, he can get to the rack anytime. And it just seems like to me he's getting more and more comfortable because he had that move where he just always went left and did the same thing every time, but people still had trouble stopping it. But now I'm starting to see more of a variety. Him getting comfortable, making other moves, and man, he's so explosive and strong around the rack. I mean, like you said, his field goal percentage is phenomenal. And, man, it's just there's so much potential on this team. I mean, Brandon Ingram is so good too. And when Josh Hart plays like he did last night.
Go ahead, Mintzy. I'm sorry.
I was saying when Josh Hart plays like he did last night, this team's going somewhere. I mean, you look at it, the Zion, Ingram, Steven Adams front court's great. It's just the guard play right now. You hadn't really known what you're getting on a night-to-night basis from Lonzo Ball and Bledsoe and Josh Hart and the ghost of JJ. I hate to say it, but maybe the ghost of JJ Redick. And so, you know, if they play well, man, it's a fun team. And then you look at the future, I mean, it's so bright you really can't even see. And so I'm excited to just, for me personally, just the fact that, you know, New Orleans is such an awesome culture and city, but really doesn't have a national fan base, especially, well, the Saints do, but the Pelicans don't. And so I'm kind of making a move being the Saints-Pelicans guy up here. And, man, I really hope things go as well as they could the next few years, because we're going to have a lot of fun with it when they come up here.
Baseball season starts this weekend, Mintzy, and I saw that Mississippi State and Ole Miss are headed to Arlington to play in a tournament against TCU, Texas Tech, in Texas. Are you excited about baseball season? I know we talked about it last time.
Oh, I'm very excited about baseball. Obviously, Rivers, you know, the Mississippi alumni are always excited about baseball.
With a good time, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, like, yeah, for sure. I'm super, super excited about it. I think Ole Miss is going to be good this year too. They, you know, last year we're off to an 18-1 start, and I really like our top two pitchers in the Casey and Hogland. And the tournament in Texas weekend, so 6 of the top 10 teams in America playing in this showcase. I think it's going to be awesome. And you know, on the Barstool note, Barstool hasn't really done much with college baseball, and so I'm going to start kind of. I don't know if we're going to go like full podcast on it yet, but I'm going to definitely start like maybe tweeting and periscoping a couple times a week and kind of trying to promote that, because it's just such a fascinating sport that like this Arkansas and both the Mississippi schools and obviously LSU with their passion and the fact how many fans they draw. And then you look at, you know, the whole state of Texas and, you know, kind of some Big 12, some ACC and SEC are all awesome, but then it's just not a lot of interest in the North. So, you know, I'm going to kind of try some stuff out and see what kind of reactions we get. But I definitely want to, you know, cover it. And, man, obviously in the Ole Miss front, you know, very, very, very excited. Ohio State's going to be really good, like they always are, too. And then LSU has an incredible pitching staff this year, too, from what I'm reading. So I'm just excited to get it all going. Also, LSU at Ole Miss is April 23rd to 25th. And I've got that on my calendar.
That sounds like a warm weekend, Mintzy.
Okay.
That sounds warm.
Little post-420 celebration in Oxford for Mintzy.
There you go.
Randy Lanois, who's the godfather of our show, says, what's up, Mintzy, up in New York City? Mintz, tomorrow, LSU basketball facing Ole Miss for the second time in the Pavilion. Your Rebels might be the hottest team in the league, but LSU feeling right after a Tennessee win on Saturday. How do you like the matchup tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central Time? I love that. I love that.
I'm so excited about it. It's funny, this Ole Miss basketball thing, it's just hilarious because literally it was like 12 days ago. I guess it was just 12 days, or maybe it was a little bit longer. But I remember I was in Philadelphia at the Barstool Sports Gambling House, and Ole Miss lost on the road as a 3.5-point favorite to a bad Georgia team, fall to 3-6 in the SEC. And I got on Twitter, and a lot of Ole Miss fans were chirping about Kermit, who I know you like, you love, and I do too.
Yeah.
I think Kermit's awesome. And,
great.
you know, my thing was, and I remember it's not like heat, but I defended him when they were 3-6. I was like, look, this team has trouble scoring, but they play so hard on a night-to-night basis. He's still recruiting top 20 classes. This is our guy. Y'all just got to be patient. And then the team really took off. They had to beat Tennessee 52-50, and it was a struggle to get the ball in hoop that night, but luckily the Rebs pulled it out. They won an overtime game thriller in Auburn with senior point guard Devontae Shuler hit a shot at the end, and then blasted Missouri, and then also, you know, continuing to win. Won their fourth in a row at South Carolina on Saturday, and all of a sudden, like you said, I mean, they're on the bubble, and I got kudos, man. You got to give a lot of credit to Scott Woodward and Keith Carter, the ADs, for making this happen, because you know, both LSU and Ole Miss, LSU's not on the bubble, I don't think. I mean, I think they're pretty significantly in, but this benefits both schools to get an 18th SEC game in. I know it's a little weird that they're playing 2 games in Oxford this year, but LSU and Ole Miss are both going to end up with 9 home games. And it's a great potential tournament builder for both. And the Ole Miss front, man, I mean, I'm just so excited. I think they got LSU and State at home this week, and then still play Vandy and Kentucky. I mean, the schedule's manageable, and so I would obviously love it. I think it would be an incredible accomplishment for not the greatest basketball tradition in Oxford to make a second NCAA tournament and Kermit Davis' first 3rd year.
Mintz, I saw on Twitter you last night about 12:20 a.m. tweeted positive vibes and energy off the charts again today. Already have something great planned for tomorrow to keep it rolling. What's planned for today? Can you break some news here?
We went Fat Tuesday theme yesterday, and I don't know if y'all saw the video of me after the Pelicans game. I ate king cake twice on film yesterday. I think that was the first time all these stories. They were just like, "What the hell is that?" And so today is Ash Wednesday. We must atone for our sins,
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead. I didn't want to spoil it out there, but I think Rivers. I think today is going to have to be the first 10K run of 2021.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, I think that's what I was hinting at.
That's awesome.
Those couple of king cake slices ain't gonna feel good about that 6 mile. That's all right, man. Go get them today. Well, how far is a 10K?
6 miles.
6.2.
What a guess.
But no, the funniest thing is yesterday. So these videos, people are like asking, like, how do you do them? Do you read them? I'm like, no, I ad lib and everything. But the problem is sometimes it takes me, sometimes I hit it on one take, sometimes it takes 7 or 8.
Sure. Right.
Well, yesterday I kept screwing up the one where I was eating a bite of king cake and ended up eating like 9 different bites. I kept messing up the transition.
Sure you did,
on the video.
All right. Give me another slice. Let's do it again.
Yeah, and so it was hilarious. And we're actually going to do a thing where Playboy Marty, we're going to do a thing. He's got all the outtakes of the screwed up videos that I think we're going to release. It could be really gold in the future, but man, I don't know, man. Everything up here, it's wild, man. I'm still this whole thing's still surreal to me, even being a few months in. And the Stoolies are, man, I'm getting a lot of support up here right now. I really feel great. Stoolies are enjoying Southern positive energy, and it's crazy. It's limitless, just where this thing can go. I mean, I'm like thinking about all the content I could do, whether it be college baseball or jam band world or poker or the gambling football, or I want to come south and do food stuff in Louisiana. Like I want to do po' boy tours, maybe it's barbecue in Texas, around the country. It just blows my mind because how much stuff is possible. And now just keeping up with these platforms. I mean, I just got on TikTok now.
I cannot wait to see some Ben Mintz TikTok.
Yeah, and so now this Clubhouse thing's like a new thing where people.
Yep.
I mean, I'm happy, because Barstool is at the forefront of all of it. So it blows my mind. Like, there's just so many things I can do. I want to start writing something for the blog, too. I mean, I just got to figure out, like, I want to do everything, and so I got to figure out how to channel it right. But it's so exciting. I mean, this whole thing, y'all both just been such a tremendous part of it all. And I just hope I continue to represent Louisiana and Mississippi well. And I really can't say enough how when the world – I feel like there's a little positivity on the COVID front lately. Maybe I'm a glass half full guy, but it seems like my parents are both taking the vaccine now, and I'm thinking, man, in a couple months if we can get out and travel. I mean, I'm taking this thing all over America, and it's going well now. But man, when I get out to all these pin gaming casinos and sports books and all the stuff I've got planned with that, especially having Marty because he can film and all the stuff that goes with that. I mean, I don't know if the people, these stories, the people of America are ready for what's coming, because this thing's about to just get out of hand.
Mintz, maybe when you come down here, perhaps I could entice the rest of this room into training. We could do a 5K or a 10K.
Easy.
It could be a 10K.
Easy.
I bet somebody would sponsor us.
Yeah.
Maybe. I could get into that.
All right, I'm in.
It'd be fun. We could do a little 10K.
Hey, look, I do have, like, part of it. I mean, I would like – it ain't going to be this year. They hadn't been having as many races. I ran it was a long time ago, but I ran the Rock and Roll NOLA half and, like, NOLA half marathon. I think it was 2012 or 13. And I feel like a calling to bring that back at some point.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and it's but we'll see. I mean, it ain't going to be this year because all this stuff shut down. But
right.
I definitely would like to. I kind of feel like in my head, I'd like to run.
Well, look, keep me posted. I love running races, but I also I plan my vacations around that kind of thing. So I pick a really awesome place. I run the race, and then I spend the rest of the
Ruin it
week
with a
there.
jog.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I got a pickup truck outside of the undisclosed location. I'm going to drop the gate and keep y'all behind me, just keep y'all motivated. You know what, Mintzy? I'll get you a king cake and put it out and just get you running towards it.
Share it in the stick.
Hey, Slattery McCollum writes into the bunker. He says, tell Mintz to look up Jean-Paul Bourgeois. He's a chef from Labadeville. He's living in New York City, and he has a show on YouTube called Duck Camp Dinners. That sounds fantastic. Go check that out, Mintz. If you see it,
I will.
tell him you heard it here on
Keep
the Absolutely. Tell him you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Mintzy, we are proud of you. We love you. When you get down to South Louisiana, you're in the undisclosed location. Whatever content you need for us, from us, we're in. Keep up the good work. Keep up the representation. Happy Mardi Gras and happy Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, and last thing, man, Jordy, huge response to Will Wade's interview on Barstool Bench Mob. I mean, people really pumped up about it. Thank you for helping with that. I mean, I just can't. I mean, that was a great thing as well.
Whatever you need, bro. We got you. Thank you, Mintz.
Yeah, y'all for having me.
There is Ben Mintz checking in from New York City at Barstool Sports. We have been disrespectful to our next guest, Chad Durbin. We're 5 minutes late. We'll call him next. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the South Downs Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at rmb-builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Back here to the Jordy Culotta Show on YouTube, presented daily by Go Chevrolet. Ben Mintz from New York City. Will Clapp on a FaceTime troubleshooting with the former intern. We will get that right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Chad Durbin, who is going to be a weekly with us, got directly out of high school from Woodlawn High back in '96. As a third-round pick of the Kansas City Royals. Went on to have a stellar MLB career. Now he's around town. You can see him. He's out at the minor, at the Little League ballparks. He's a Parkview Baptist family, and he is a great friend of what we do here every single day on the Jordy Culotta Show. And it is our pleasure to welcome him in to the conversation. A little late, but nonetheless here on a Wednesday. Thank you, Durbs. Good morning. Chad Durbin joining us here.
Hey, good morning. Streaming it, listening to Mintzy and Clapp and everything this morning. It's been fun following y'all and kind of the ebb and flow of getting it rolling. Ribs, what's going on? How you doing?
What's going on? I'm good. Long time no talk.
I know it's been a little while, huh?
I've got a couple kids now.
I was gonna say, you know how that happens, right?
I know. Look, yeah.
That's another podcast, Durbs. Chad Durbin joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Lots to get to because, as we were telling our listeners early on, you're kind of a hybrid guest. You're a seasoned basketball ticket holder. You're a big football fan. You played at the highest level of Major League Baseball, and you still tutor a lot of stars and are very invested into LSU baseball with just some of the things that you have, the relationships But let's start with football. LSU football did not have the season that they wanted, yet it looks like they've made major overhaul changes in this offseason to get it right. What do you expect from Ogeron and that crew in year 5?
I really, knowing what it's like to come back, it's different on the professional level than it is on the high-end collegiate level, but I imagine it's very close to the same. The bounce back after a win is hard enough without, the complications of everything that goes on in the pandemic,
Right.
Bouncing back, trying to keep kids locked in that are on social media, that are going through the stages of their life in their late teens and early 20s, trying to keep them just plugged in and connected and one team, one heartbeat, man. It's hard to do when everything's kind of scattered. So, the results kind of came up the way they do sometimes. And I'm sure the staff learned a lot. The players learned a lot about themselves and what they need to do if they do want to play at the next level. That's not going to be acceptable going into the pro side of things. So, yes, it was a little murky there for a little bit, but I expect this team to go out and be an 8 or 9 win team this next year. Seeing the quarterback play be so competitive is a good thing. I think you've got some guys that are got some grass under their feet now. Mm-hmm. Also, that maybe we're waiting in line, mm-hmm. and that's part of being an elite program is waiting in line, and when it is your turn, it's time to go. If not, you're not ready. That's fine. But we got another 4 or 5 star or 3 star that's going to be a 5-star type of guy, just waiting for his turn. So that's always part of the process. I knew every time a big league camp, today is pitchers and catchers reporting to a lot of the camps, you look down on the minor league side and there are a bunch of kids out there working, wanting your job. And I always like going down there, just do a lap, say hi. But it was a reminder to myself that these guys, they're not sitting in their house playing video games. They're ready to take your job.
Durbs, step up a level for me to the NFL, or just from a professional athlete's point of view. The New Orleans Saints have been built to win the Super Bowl the last 3 years. It was a Super Bowl or bust type run for the franchise. They were unable to accomplish that. When you were with Philadelphia, you guys won it in 08 and tried to run it back in 09, got there, but you guys had the mentality of world championship or bust. When you don't accomplish that goal as a professional athlete, what is the offseason like? What is that time period like where you're built to win, but you fail?
Well, there's the athlete, and then there's the professional side of the professional athlete, where your agent's trying to get you what maybe you earned or maybe more so because this is the time to click it. So you have that aspect. You also have, from a team perspective, who's with us, who are we keeping, who are we going forward with, who are we adding, who do we lose, and then kind of reshuffling the deck and getting everybody on the same page again. When you have one, 7, 8, 9, everybody was kind of in 10. Everybody was pushing in the same directions. Got beat both years, 9 and 10, by the eventual world champions, the Yankees and Giants. I didn't get to come back in 11. I wanted to. Every part of me, it hurt not to be a part of that team. It was just things broke loose in negotiations, and I knew what they were all about. There was nothing but, hey, we got to win. So we're going to add the pieces that are necessary. If you're with us, great. If you're not, that's not going to stop our mission. And I know that's kind of what happens when you lose big pieces. I don't know who the equivalent is or who the combination of equivalents are to lose a Drew Brees, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. That shakes the culture across the board. And I felt like every team I was on had some combination on a 26-man roster, 25 when I was playing, is 26 now. There are usually 3 or 4 guys that equivalent a Drew Brees because it's such a big component to everything. If those guys, if you lost a couple of them, it was like you had to redefine culture, and I think that's what the Saints are having to do.
What do you?
So they have the pieces. Okay. They have the pieces on the defensive side. I feel like they did a really good job this year. You ran into some powerhouses that are going to do stuff. If you can't control the ball, if you can't move the ball downfield and give them rest, give them a chance to design a new scheme going into the next quarter, next half, it does. It runs your defense into the ground. So I don't know. It's going to be tough watching them with the same heartbeat that you watched Drew Brees with. And I think that's just, we saw it with Joe Burrow leaving, and you watch next year, you're all fired up, and they're like, this isn't the same thing. So you have to kind of refocus even as a fan looking, watching them. The standard is so high, and they still have the personnel to go deep.
Chad Durbin joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You spend a lot of time with professional athletes from the area and in the bigs, whether it be in the off season or consulting them in season. One of those guys that you have worked with directly since he's been out of college is Aaron Nola, and he is with a franchise that you spent a dominant part of your career with in Philadelphia. Last year, I saw his name start to creep into the top 5, top 6 pitchers in the league. Where is he at now in his evolution from your standpoint, and now what are his expectations now that it feels like he's really arrived as a dude, as somebody that has the respect on that level?
Well, he's one of those guys that I just spoke of that are in that 3 or 4 that kind of set the culture in place. And he's not an analytics guy in an analytics world. His analytics, on the other side of it when you're viewing it, are fantastic. Obviously, he goes out there and does a lot of things really well. But he wants to win. He always has. He's a winner because of that. And the pieces that they put together, keep getting JT Realmuto, who is arguably the best catcher in baseball, signing them back, signing the players that they have going in. He's a guy that's in the top 10 in starting pitchers. He's his stuff isn't what DeGrom has, it isn't what Garrett Cole has, but he is so consistent throughout the year. You just know, as a manager, as a pitching coach, as a player, as a reliever, he's going to give you 6, 7, 8 innings. Your team's going to be in that game. And he's the consummate professional. Shows up early, does his work. He works in the off season. And I haven't interacted with him a whole lot over the last year. He's in that period in his career where it is what it is to some level. He's getting better. He's always pushing. But he's his own man now, leading the charge on that team. And those guys, Wheeler's another starting pitcher with them, throws 100 miles an hour, but he's still learning to be an Aaron Nola. He has better stuff, but he doesn't know how to consistently go out there and be that guy. And that's what happens. You grab onto the guy next to you and say, hey, let's do this together. And they're going to push. And it starts now. It starts during the off season, but it starts first day camp. Everybody gets together and the kids see the way he goes about his work. They can go to him, and he's going to be honest with them too. He's not a man of a ton of words, but when he says it, people stop and listen.
How did your training change once your mindset got established that I'm a pro? Like when you stopped training to stay and stick a pro, once you established yourself as, all right, I'm good enough to be here consistently. How did your training change? How did your mentality change?
That's a great question, because it does. Over 17 years, about the first 5 or 6, you're trying to figure out who the hell you are,
right?
And what works for you. And honestly, after my 06 and 07 seasons, I was trying to figure that out. I mean, it was a workload. It was a longer season. Being in the big leagues through playoffs. And Jack Marucci was actually one of the guys that reached out and said, because I asked him just about maintenance, about getting older, and he said, you can't lift the way you always have. You can't. You need rest, aggressive rest. That means it's part of your schedule that you're not going to lift the weight for 4 to 6 weeks after your season. And that's hard to do when you watch the playoffs or you're trying to compete with guys, is knowing that the rest is an absolute huge component of this. And he just talked to me about lessening the load. Your body kind of is what it is. Make sure that you stay mobile. Make sure that you have full range of motion. Go to the PTs, go to experts, see them. And so it did. It changed. You started to really assess yourself, maybe more honestly. What can I do? What can I do? Am I ever going to be able to throw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball consistently? Hell no. Am I ever going to be able to do this and that? So you just assessed yourself more honestly. You were willing to listen to the PTs when they said certain things. You didn't just scoff at them and say you're wrong, which is what you do when you're young. You're just stubborn, and that's part of that's what gets you to the big league.
Right.
And sometimes that's what keeps you there. But learning how to be stubborn when it's time to be stubborn and flip that switch, that was a huge component for me. So guys like Jack Marucci, who I trusted, I assessed myself honestly, and he was fantastic for that.
What are your expectations for DJ LeMahieu now? And is he the best player in baseball?
He's one of my favorite players in baseball. He's kind of the antithesis to this analytics movement in that he's not trying to drive a ball in the air unless the pitch and situation kind of dictates that he does so. He's a professional hitter, and in the way that we've always termed it, Tony Gwynn. Those types of guys. He's that type of hitter, and he's also for a clubhouse. You want that guy up in big situations. You also want to be in the cage with him. Pregame, postgame. You want to be sitting at the table with him at dinner so that you can just soak up his mentality. And if you think back, it's kind of he hasn't changed a whole lot. He was that guy at LSU. He was that guy in Colorado. He's been that guy with the Yankees. He shows up, and his presence in a lineup, you don't want to face him. You know it's going to be a battle, and he sets the tone. He deserves every penny that he's earned. I'm super proud of him and who he is on and off the field. So he might be my favorite guy just to watch go about his business. I appreciated it about Chase Utley when I played with him. I appreciated it about a Placido, Polanco, and a Magglio Ordonez, and those guys are older now, but those are who I played with. Yeah. Those guys went about their business that way, and just watching young hitters maybe sell out to try to get one and hit a home run instead of grinding out a 7-pitch at bat and gaining intel on the pitcher, first time up. I think he's a guy to watch, anytime you get a chance. So I love DJ. I think that, he's what's right about baseball.
We will dive in to LSU much more next week after we've got some data to break down as they've got opening weekend coming up. But before I get you out of here, just give me a thought on this frontline pitching, because it seems to be the identity of the 2021 group with whether it's Jaden Hill, Marceau, Fontenot, and these guys. What do you make of these frontline guys going into the season for Mainieri and crew?
And Jaden Hill is as good a prospect from an MLB draft side that we've ever had at LSU. And we've had some guys. But just the physicality, athleticism, the intelligence to really, surround himself with the right type of people. Anthony Renato is kind of taking him under his wing, and he did a lot of things right. He also learned from the things that he didn't do well in his career, or maybe just the lack of being able to stay healthy. He's really gotten around the right guys. He's got a chance to give Kumar Rocker a run for his money as the best pitcher, best prospect in baseball, and obviously in the SEC. So if they're going to pitch, they stay healthy, they go out there and they make their rounds. It's going to come down to, and we've got a guy behind the plate in Laza that is an absolute stud. So on that side of the ball, I feel like we're really going to do our job. And it's going to come down to guys getting big hits or developing as hitters. I think we have some guys that can really go. So it's just it really is a matter of putting up some runs, giving those guys some breathing room to shut some teams down.
Chad Durbin, weekly, right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As you see right there, a buffet of sports knowledge. You can throw anything at him, and he's got a great take. That's why we appreciate him every week here, and looking forward to getting him in the studio, but much more the conversations every week. We appreciate it. Have a safe week, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Jordy. Thanks, Rip.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
See you. There he is, Chad Durbin, checking in this morning, as really looking forward to that segment throughout the season. Let's take a break, come back, answer your questions, and we'll get out of here for 9 o'clock. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show, which is daily brought to you by AdvantaClean. Remember, online at AdvantaClean.com. It's easy to get in touch with AdvantaClean just by logging on to ADVANTA Clean.com. Get in touch with our friend Bradley Lynch and his crew over there. It's easy, man. Water, fire, mold. I'd imagine that a lot of you are waking up right now and see either water stains, maybe leaks, whether it be at the office, the house. If you want to just knock that out, man, you see it, you need to say to yourself, I don't want to touch that thing. I don't want to have to deal with that. It's all good. Bradley Lynch at Advana Clean can take care of that. He works directly with the insurance company. He takes out the headaches. He takes out the red tape. He comes over, diagnoses the problem, water, fire, mold, and he gets rid of it. Online at advanaclean.com, ADVANTA, clean.com. Your questions, and we close it out next. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. New management, but it's the same old familiar names that you know here from the area. Lee Carney and Nick Richard are up and running in Laplace, Louisiana, and they want you to stop in today. But if you can't, they'll make it easy for you. They'll come to you. Log online to GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet is conveniently located on Airline Highway in Laplace, Louisiana. Shop all the inventory, whether it's new or pre-owned, at GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com.
You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show with Rivers Huey, presented by Go Chevrolet.
Back here. Yes, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Did that air?
Yeah.
So it's aired. The Rock.
I put it in the document.
Yeah, I saw where, I saw the Ogeron representative. Not good.
Oh, my God.
Man, are you kidding me?
Dude, that was the worst.
Is that what cable television's budget is now? I mean, is that
God,
all?
dude.
I mean, what was that
It was like bad porn.
Sheesh, it was. I mean, hey, how's it going? Like, what?
And then,
Don't do this.
and then the Rock hits him with a mahalo.
Defensive line drill starting now.
But the Rock is attached to this, right? Like he's like approving these decisions.
Gotta be.
He's too busy.
It's for his
dude.
live.
Dude, the Rock's got to be too busy for this then, because
Right,
there's
film
no
him
way
on
he saw that. It's like,
That looks good. That looks good. Run with it. Run with it.
But maybe that's what he was like.
Best,
I mean, I don't know.
which one?
Either. I don't know.
that might have been Dwayne and not the Rock.
Right. I mean, I can imagine a young Eddie O in South Beach is amped.
Tan.
I mean, amped. Cause
Dude, talk about ripping your shirt off, muscleman.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't know what.
Yeah, but like-
you don't know what arena
That's
you're
more on
crawling
brand.
in.
I was about to say, there's a difference in like Musselman running in and doing it and like Edo. Like Edo does it, you're like, okay, all right, that
Yeah, that's
plays.
right.
But like Musselman does it, and you're like,
put your shirt back on, dude.
he like can't get it unbuttoned quite right, and he's like trying to like.
Come on.
It's like taking him 5 minutes.
Gets caught around the collar when it
The
gets
moment has
thick.
passed.
Yeah.
It's like, Coach, we got you.
Forget
bro.
about it, Coach. It's over, bro.
We're good. We're good.
Don't forget, we've got giveaways from Harper's Haberdashery coming up on Friday. Everybody gets a shot for a $250 giveaway. We've been practicing a lot since Mondays
been
as I
doing great.
airballed it.
I've been doing great. I know.
I airballed it from
It
your
did not
seat.
look
No,
great.
that
Coach,
was
that's
bad.
motivation. That
Bad,
motivates-
bad.
It was not a good look for the Jordy Culotta show.
Bad for the streaming
What
service.
they don't
for
know
sure.
is we got 3 different basketballs. So you got to make sure you got the right one.
there is
Some are
no
heavy,
difference.
some are lighter. They got a little
There is no
bounce.
excuse for my shot.
Adjust
There's
your
no
I'm
excuse
not
for
taking
my
one
Adjust
shot
your-
yet. What do you think the chances are of me making it?
I think you can make it. I think it's a pretty good shot.
Probably a good chance,
it's a free
especially if
throw.
that's going to be your angle.
No, yeah, you got. You got.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
but like,
got
I
the
got
shot.
pressure because like I haven't even tried yet, so
Yeah.
if I miss it, like whatever.
Well, let me see if I
Oh,
What are we doing? You know?
Rich one, you want to help us out?
If I miss it, like, whatever. I haven't tried to practice.
All right, your mailbag questions or your questions.
Just your
Hey,
questions.
old habits around here,
Old
man.
habits die hard. We have
Get your
two,
questions
so we're
in.
good.
All right, let's roll.
Kyle Russo. Jordy, is Jack Hunt one of the most underrated safeties in LSU history?
I don't know how
Really quick, I got halfway through that question and I was like,
you're like, oh.
I didn't read
Yes.
through them, and I was like, ooh, I was reading too quick. Reading too quick.
Right. Speaking of porn names, that could go bad real
I was
quick.
like, let me read the rest of this question.
Jackie.
Yes.
Jackie.
Jack Hunt is not one of the most overrated safeties. I think he is. He's
Properly rated.
I think he is, because if you look at that 2003 national championship season, Jack Hunt missed one game. He missed the Florida game, and the LSU defense was confused. They didn't know where they were supposed to be. Hunt was the guy that not only was a playmaker back there, but he was the quarterback of the squad. He may not get talked enough about of safeties. I mean, when you think of safeties at LSU, I think a lot of guys come to mind before Jack Hunt. You know what I mean?
The guy that was standing right next to him. LaRon
Landry.
freshman.
Absolutely. I mean, even like before, like Greg Jackson, I think of like even like those teams. But I mean, Jamal Adams comes to mind. You know what I mean? Like there's so many name rec guys that come up first. But I think if you followed the 2003 season, if you were around watching LSU football during that time, you really appreciate how much he meant to that squad. I mean, not only because of how high Nick Saban Saban drafted him in Miami.
That's right.
Gave him a chance.
Wow,
That's right.
Gave him a chance in the NFL. I mean, that's another guy, for all intents and purposes. I mean, he's probably an inch taller than me and 15 pounds heavier. I mean, it's not like he don't look NFL.
Right.
He don't look SEC safety.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know, I mean, he'll long live for the Bluegrass Miracle. You know, I mean, Hawthorne screwed that up.
Yeah.
Am I the
Jack Hunt.
I know, I was like,
Jack Hunt. Oh my God.
am I in the minority wanting Ben McDonald as head coach / pitching coach and Todd Helton only paid assistant and hitting coach? Ben already has a travel team that are filled with studs. I mean, does he want to do that?
That would be my question.
Yeah.
I mean, that is. I mean,
I
Ben
imagine
McDonald.
that if he
Ben
wanted
McDonald
to.
lives a really good life.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's,
Like,
He does whatever the hell he wants.
not only did he make a ton of money playing 9 years in Major League Baseball and a former #1 overall pick, which comes with a ton of gobs of cash.
Definitely.
He's a very well accomplished broadcaster.
Amazing broadcaster.
Which is from my standpoint, if you think you still like sports, that's the way to be around it. Like what Drew Brees is about to do.
Yeah.
Just go every Sunday night. And not to say that's the only time you work. There's a lot of preparation that goes into broadcasting, and there's a lot of time that goes into broadcasting. You don't just show up and turn on the microphone and
Right.
say
No,
and call the game.
Even
drink
people,
a
even
beer.
people who don't sound prepared, I promise you.
Yes.
they're
No,
prepared.
or overly prepared.
Yes.
But it's not coaching.
Right.
It's not the commitment of showing up at 6 a.m., leaving at 11 p.m., and feeling guilty as if you've left something on the table
Yeah,
that
right,
day.
right.
Like you didn't get something accomplished. McDonald's an avid outdoorsman. I think he did
Loves
our
to hunt.
interview on Monday morning from his camp in the snow. He loves the outdoors. He loves South Louisiana. He's a Baltimore Oriole broadcaster. He's an SEC network broadcaster. To me, he just lives a really good life. It would be the John Gruden scenario, but Gruden went back.
Yeah.
Right.
Mid McDonald's never been there. He does coach a travel team, a high school, and he's coached all these dudes. Like, I mean, you heard him talk about Milazzo. You heard him talk about one of the freshmen. His name slips my mind, but that he coached in summer ball. So he's got experience with all these guys.
I think,
I just think he lives a too good life. He just looks too good of a life.
If Ben McDonald wanted to coach,
He could do it.
He could do it.
He could do it.
Yeah, and I think
Absolutely.
you would have already.
And he could do it like for the Orioles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he could be the Yankees pitching coach if he wanted to be.
Right.
Y'all want to talk about how much everyone loves Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
For just real quick?
And good on Adam Sandler for improving what is already looks to be an untouchable Q rating. He put it over the top with that video.
No question.
Like, how do you hate this guy?
I mean, is there
everything
like,
from the look
Is anyone more beloved than like Adam Sandler? Because
in Hollywood?
Yeah, well, just in general. Like, I mean, he's so likable to so many demographics, right? His market is just everyone.
Yeah.
And he finds that balance of like kind of over the top, but not so over the top that he's obnoxious.
Is he the white Eddie Murphy?
Ooh.
But see, I think Eddie Murphy's kind of polarizing.
Really?
I think you'll find people who don't like Eddie Murphy because he can be kind of raunchy, you know, like
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
Adam
Okay.
Sandler never did that,
Yeah.
you know, like he kind of is just an every guy.
Oh,
Very
and
much
he,
so.
And he plays it so well.
And he plays it so
Yeah.
well. Very,
Yeah.
I mean, even that video.
I got
mean,
it.
he looks as if that's what he dresses like every day.
That is Adam Sandler.
I don't know if
All the
he's trying to have a little bit of a Gilmore feel to it, but it looks like that's Adam Sandler.
I think that's just
Yeah,
Adam.
you know what I
That's
mean?
like,
Like-
you see all the paparazzi pictures of him, he's just in like cargo shorts and
I
a
think
t-shirt.
that is. I think
Yeah.
everybody that Adam Sandler played. I mean, granted, a few of them were characters, but most of the characters he played in those movies, probably Adam Sandler.
I agree with that.
I'm
You know,
shocked.
Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I mean, don't
Happy
they say that about
Gilmore,
Tom Cruise? Did he
Yeah.
just act like Tom Cruise?
Just acts like himself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's Vanilla Sky or Mission Impossible or Top Gun, it's just
Yeah.
really Tom
just Tom
Cruise.
Cruise.
He's doing this in his spare time.
Look, I applaud Adam Sandler also for not. I
Have the video.
play it. Yeah, I applaud him for not ever making a sequel to this,
Yeah.
leaving it as it was.
Well, I mean, what has Hollywood become?
I know.
Sequels.
It's
I
a
know.
town of sequels.
I know.
Or threes. Like they're just looking to
unnecessary ones.
just looking
Yes,
to
like-
recreate because they've run out of ideas.
Yeah.
How many meetings you think Sandler has been called into say, hey, can we do Billy Madison? Can we
like,
do
no.
Happy Gilmore? Can we do? And he's probably like, no chance. You're not
No.
touching it.
I think of all of the ones that could have gotten sequels, this one would have been the one. I'm just so happy he hasn't touched it.
Wow, look at this shot. Can we do the sound here?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna let it play over again.
Yeah, he looks.
It's been 25 years since I've done this. Let's see what happens. I'm scared. Shooter McGavin, this is for you. And I'm not lying to you, that is smashed. Smashed.
That is so good, man.
And like immediately,
I mean-
he's like, I'm not lying.
Also on the white tube socks, the blue cargos with
That
the
is a
oversized
dad
polo,
look.
bro.
That
I
is-
mean, like, sign me up, man.
Sandler's just like dad.
You got
All
shooters.
dad.
You got
I got
shooters
Shooter
video.
too, but
I
I'm
mean,
shocked he didn't pull out the Bruins jersey for the video.
I know. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's he just.
That's him.
No, see, he walked out to the golf course and said, "Oh, I got to shoot the."
That's him on a
cigarette."
Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's just Adam Sandler.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so then Shooter McGavin, which I love. I love this type of stuff.
Yes.
Where you can get into character, out of character, and you can kind of go back at each other. And so Sandler, after the 25-year anniversary of Happy Gilmore, puts that video out, and then Shooter McGavin. What's Shooter McGavin's real name?
I don't know.
Do we not? Okay, I'm looking. I'm
Twitter,
looking.
He's just Shooter McGavin.
I know it's unbelievable. It's unreal.
This is what he is.
It's unreal.
Look, that is talk about just knowing yourself.
Talk about somebody.
Talk
Christopher
about knowing-
McDonald.
Talk about somebody
If
that
you
wants
had
a
paid
sequel.
me $5 million, I could have
mean,
told you that.
So Christopher McDonald responded from the Twitter account at Shooter McGavin _ Look at him.
Nice drive, Gilmore. 25 years, huh? Let's see if it's Shooter's Tour. Check it
I'm
out.
not lying to you, that is smashed. Smashed.
Nice drive, Gilmore. 25 years, huh? Let's see if it's Shooter's Tour. Check it out. Oh, yeah. It's all about the short game. Drive for show, putt for the dough. Money. Shooter. Still got it. Well, thank you to all the fans, and thank you to you, Adam Sandler. And why don't you just meet me at the 9th green at 9, Gilmore? Little secret of the pros. Okay? Oh, and Gilmore, wear something nice.
It's so good, man.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like, to know himself so well, to know
Yes.
that no one's going to know. Like, I've already forgotten it. Christopher McDonald?
Christopher McDonald.
Like,
Yeah.
Dude, talk
He's
about
Shooter.
somebody that wants a sequel though.
yeah. I know.
Right. We get it, Chris. We get it,
Has he
Chris.
been in anything else? I feel like he has.
I feel like he has too.
I feel
but-
like he's like the guy who plays the bad guy.
Yeah.
He
You
definitely,
know-
Right. He does have a bad
personifies
guy
that.
feel to him. Shout out Chubbs Peterson from Devon Stibe. Shout out to everybody out there for interacting with us. Thank you for listening today. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Remember, the podcast is available, brought to you by RMB Builders. Any announcements that you want to make before we get out of here?
Just to make sure you follow us on all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Culotta Show. As Jordy said, you can also find us on the podcast. You can subscribe on Apple, or you can find us on Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also buy some merch.
Jordy.itemorder.com is where you can cop the merch.
Rivs, give us a jumper. Let's see what you look like. See what your form looks like. See what your form looks like.
Sizing it up.
Okay. That was my first shot.
A little brick.
This one's like lighter.
Yeah, a little lighter.
Yeah,
a little lighter.
Oh,
Okay, we'll go out on we'll go out on a brick and an air ball.
I had the
we got some practice before Friday's giveaway.
Team meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Harper's Haberdashery going to give away $250. He wants to at least. All we have to do is make one. He might not be able to.
Some suicides.
That's right. Have a great Wednesday. Stay dry. It looks like the rain is coming back this afternoon. So if you got to get out on the road and you got to get to work, you got to get some errands run. It looks like before 3 o'clock may be the best window to get that done. If you're out there, stay safe. Tell a friend about the Jordy Culotta Show. Like and share it on YouTube. Comment on it. We appreciate the interaction. Go see Go Chevrolet. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.